3, 2.
Hello, welcome to another edition of Make That Change. I'm your host, Maros, along with a very special friend guest,
Hello, I'm August Stevens.
better known around as OSA, as the president of OSA. What I want to ask you though, did you ever think you'd be president your senior year?
I did think about running a little bit over the summer just because I really do like planning events and having I like building up the school community. I didn't decide to run until like maybe a few weeks before. Yeah, it wasn't a plan I had for a long time. It was just kind of a passing thought, and then I decided to do it.
How does it feel? How have you been? Has it been easy with the balance school and also the responsibility of a president, or stressful, or?
It's been stressful, but honestly, throughout school, every year you think is harder, and then you kind of get used to the workload. So, there's a few times where it's stressful when you have a lot of deadlines to meet, but I can handle it.
Is it something that you feel you want to carry on and like in office positions or more?
Yeah, well, I am interested in majoring in like an international relations in college and possibly going out through diplomacy or anything. So I think that helps a lot with it. Yeah.
Do you think that Global Glimpse was a good contribution to that?
Global Glimpse for sure, because I do want to study international relations, and so that was my first time leaving the country. Actually, it was my first time seeing how people outside of the U.S. live. Outside of the U.S. live, and how relationships between two countries work, because we also got to experience people from like Haiti and talk about the immigration policies there and everything.
It's going to be a great lead into our topic today of conflict. But what is the responsibility you have as a president?
A lot of it, I have the meetings once a week with everyone else in student council and all the grade representatives. We plan events that you guys want to have. We like put out surveys to see what you guys want to do. Senior events and like events specifically for classes. Some are coming up for you guys too. And we meet with teachers. We meet with Mr. Oz and the directors and artistic directors to see, so we can report back on like student voices and what they want.
From my point of view, it seems like no one has conflict with you. That like you've always like everyone's just like been adored, very friendly to you. It seems like you get along with like just most everyone. Is that true, or?
My brother might have a different opinion, but I don't know if I try to get along with everyone. I don't like having open conflicts with anyone because I don't think it'll go anywhere, but I try to treat everyone like not as you want to be treated. I don't want to be cliche, but I try to treat everyone with respect and like be open-minded and everything.
Is that something that has led you to not have conflict with many people, you'd say?
To not have conflict?
Yes.
I think so. I think I definitely think so, because I don't like having conflict with people. I'm kind of non-confrontational, but also if there's like a real problem between us or something, I will try and speak it out as much as possible without getting to the point where there's like hostility between me and someone else.
Of course, there's more personal, which we'll get into later, but as a president, how do you deal with conflict?
As a president, I think communication is the biggest. I believe communication is the most important thing. Even if you don't end up agreeing on something in the end, if you can come together and talk it out and at least see the other person's side, I think that's the key to like avoiding conflict, or if not avoiding conflict, not having it lead to like something that's such hostile environment that you can't like move on with your life.
I definitely agree, because I know that honestly the reason why I have conflict with certain people is just because I haven't just taken the motivation or the energy to talk with them. I know if I went up to them and I was just like, honestly, I'm just really tired, there's just no reason for this. This is extra, there's no reason for this to happen, whether it be a part of someone just outright trying to be a bully because they feel some type of way and they want to initiate the conflict. I feel honestly, even with the bully, if you honestly went to them at an appropriate time and civilly talked with them, you can get by with the bully. I just don't see, I mean, there's only at certain age that someone could just be so ignorant to it and just so passe, as they say, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Just trying to figure it all out.
Yeah, for sure. I think it is hard sometimes, like, going up to people. Like, I definitely have sometimes chosen not to talk to them because I'm just like...
You all meant that?
Yeah. There's times when you know it's not going to go anywhere. But I think just finding a space when not only they can, like, hear you, but when you can, like, be calm, and you have to... Because there's going to be times when you have to just put yourself last and, like, let them speak.
Yes.
Or they won't, because you know they're not going to try and listen to you.
And I think a major part of why people will have conflict with people for just no reason is a major counterpart of jealousy, just honestly latching their attention and focus to bring you down for something that they just see in you, or something that you have going on that necessarily they don't. What should a person do in that situation? Because I see that for many people that I know, whether because they're very beautiful on the inside or on the outside, and it's just really, really pathetic.
Yeah, I think it's something that everyone struggles with, honestly, because there'll be things that I'm jealous of that another person, like, oh, I don't know, they're so great at math. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I think when you're dealing with it with other people, you need to, first of all, you need to not let them diminish your worth or, like, try and hide something that's making them jealous. Like, if there's something you're really proud of that you work really hard at, you don't want to hide it so that you can get along with them. But maybe you can speak to them. Back to communication. You can speak to them and let them know that your success should not, like, be an attack on theirs. And people need to realize, like, other people's successes are not your failures, and you need to, like, be content with yourself. And that's a hard place to get to, also, to have, like, self-contentment. I don't know if contentment's the word.
No, I very much agree. I very much agree. What do you think? I mean, this is very, very, very specific. Whoa. But what do you think a student could do when they're in a public environment, such as a classroom, and someone starts vocalizing outbursts and starts... Because there's always the point where, a student can choose to defend themselves because it's extremely embarrassing. The teacher in that situation is 110% responsible. The teacher's responsible. Like, the teacher can easily shut that down. But if it doesn't, there comes to the point of, well, young adults, you need to have respect for yourself, and you just stand. There's that side, but there's also the side of just don't do anything. But what do you, it's specific, but what do you think?
So the student is...
What do you think a student should do? Or I guess I'll say someone should do it if a more public place of conflict starts to begin.
Ooh, in a more public place?
Because, sis, I'm all out of answers.
Yeah.
If you have one.
Oh, boy. In a public place, if the teacher is responsible and they're not doing anything, first of all, I'm really sorry, because that's kind of not a fair position for a student to be in, especially if it's public and the teacher's not saying anything. That kind of feels like the teacher's almost supporting it.
Yes.
I would say, in those situations, I try to not let it go, but I try to not make a big deal out of it in a public space. But if you're personally feeling like, if, like, the student is feeling uncomfortable or attacked, I would definitely go see if there's, like, another person in power that could, like, put a stop to that. I would also, sometimes, honestly, you gotta clap back. Like,
Gotta just let the tea spill.
Like, sometimes, sure, I don't know what's allowed on the radio show.
Let the tea spill. Sometimes you just gotta. But also from a presidential space, because I heard that people's voices weren't being heard on the panel last night about the school and the funds. Is that what you saw, or what do you know about that? Or
I wasn't able to attend the last two boarding meetings because of work, but
do you know anything about that?
Yeah, I have heard. I've been, and also are we allowed to say student names?
No.
Okay.
We'll just...
There are students that are actually putting up posters. Posters and stuff around the halls to voice their opinions on the matter that's happening.
Yes. Do you think, because, I mean, OSA has been known within the news before to do an all-school walkout. We did it on the terms of Trump, because everyone felt unified for that day. I don't necessarily see those patterns kept up with. I'm just going to say, just got to face the truth. But do you think a real place of community and bringing everyone together would be if we did a walkout for these funds, that we need to get our stuff together, we need to have a more close relationship with the students and the faculty of where the funds are going to go?
I definitely think that we need to be more transparent and open with the faculty and the administration. In terms of a walkout, I know that the people, like faculty and administration, really don't want that to happen with the walkout. They're totally for us voicing our opinions, and they're not going to stop us with whatever we do to express how we feel. But I think a sense of community can come from another way than walkout, because if the people that we're kind of standing up for don't want it to happen, I don't think it's the best way to honor their opinion or their position. Yeah.
I see that, but then also again, I think of from the perspective of that, school is a reflection of workers and all that, and I think about unions and everything else. And isn't it a reflection of if the money's going haywire and everything else, and we see the problem, and we know why? I mean, people who have been at OSA from before to see at least a glimpse of what it was to now, we all know why this situation is here where we are now. And isn't, a reflection of that should be union protests as in we're going to walk out?
I don't know if, well, walkouts, first of all, like, that puts more of a strain on the school and some of the people that we're walking out to support.
Very true.
Yeah, and then also we do get paid for being in school. And so a lot of the funds that's not going to be such a significant amount.
And joining us right now is Ben Rodenberg. Hello, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. Sorry that I'm late. I just overheard the walkout conversation,
Yes.
and I agree with August, especially if the teachers don't want this to happen. And I think the biggest difference is between us and a union would be that we, the teachers, if they wanted to strike, which I don't think wouldn't help anything. We shouldn't be doing any striking for them. I do think a walkout is a really good way to raise awareness over something, but I think if it's something that we, like something with money related, if we aren't doing something, like if the walkout was like a walkathon, then that could be a fun idea, but otherwise, it's just adding to the problem.
But here's the twist, T. What if we all walked out to Newberry? So we were still in school grounds, we're still legally giving money to the school, but we're just all at Newberry. Because we get paid when we're at Newberry.
Well, I guess the other part of the question is, I saw Oakland Tech was having a walkout, and they had speeches that were going on. Would we have speeches? What would the walkout be?
Yes, the walkout would be, we're going to have this discussion of where we're going. Because, I'm not particularly worried for the fact that, I know I'll be good, but, other generations, they're going to, Lord only knows what's going to happen. So, it's going to be really up to their manner. Yeah, because there's people that care, but there's also people that are really tired, and they don't care. And it's like what has this school done for me type of mood, because, some people, that's just how the school has treated them, in their words, they would say.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's an interesting way to look at it. Although if we are going to have a discussion, with our school, and this is me personally, August, you probably have a better idea of how to do this kind of thing. But I think a big all-school assembly, maybe in suites, where we sit down and we actually have a real conversation about what this means. And I know we had something like this in theater a week ago or so. On Monday, I think it was Monday. But has that happened with you guys at all in your FSCs?
We haven't had a talk, but I have witnessed a few other emphases having the teachers give talks, and I think that's actually a good idea. I think the main issue we're having now, because there's a lot of misinformation going around, is there's a lack of communication between all of the students at once and the teachers and administration. So I think that's actually a really good idea. If we could have an assembly, kind of like the board meetings that have been happening, where we get to ask them questions and they can tell us what's been happening, so we hear it straight from the people that are actually implementing the changes and that this is involving, and there's no more misinformation going around, because a lot of people also, from what I've been hearing, are walking out for different reasons, and it's not really unified.
And also, we have to be honest, there's going to be lying, of course, with these answers, because we're not going to say names. But when one of the faculty had came in with the classroom and talked to us all, it was I was really? How many times have you given a speech? How many times have you spoken this tone and this? You really think you're charming? Do you really think people, it's just a whole, it was just a really bad facade. And I was just sitting there just okay, well, either what was being said wasn't all that honestly truthful, or it was just really exaggerated. And, again, people are getting tired.
I think another thing, though, is they don't want to scare us. You know, they're not
Yeah.
like Oz isn't going to come in and be like, this person's getting fired, this person's getting fired. They want to keep it low because I mean, if it gets out, like, and I'm not saying that there is some like weird thing that they're hiding, but like if there is real problems, they know that and if they don't tell us, it's because they think they can deal with them, and that might be lame for us because we don't get to hear them, but they're not just going to come in and tell us everything, which is why I think an assembly would be a good idea because that way we could ask them exactly what we want to ask them, and it would be good for the whole school to hear about how each emphasis is getting affected, because we are a school, we are one big OSA family, and so when one person gets hurt, we all get hurt. And so it'd be nice to hear about what's happening with other embassies and seeing what we can do to help out those people.
Yeah, I don't know. I hear you, but at the same time, from that perspective, I don't know. Just people are just really tired. People just, yeah. I mean, there's that whole OSA family, but there's a lot of people who are not included in the OSA family and who have never been a part of the OSA family, and the OSA family has I don't know. There's something I've noticed within OSA culture that has grown more and more is the hypocrisy within a lot of people. Again, that's just my perspective of my 6 years, and not getting personal, but just like as I've seen within this culture is a lot of hypocrisy of let's be pro this, let's be a diverse art school, but those same people who get up and make those certain speeches then go around and do the exact of what they're just projecting.
Well, I think that's kind of moving away from the larger issue, which is money.
Of course.
And so what I think that, maybe you may have some
No,
problems
I
with
wasn't
teachers
saying, no, that wasn't
or
saying
other
me.
faculty.
No.
Maybe some hypothetical person may have problems with faculty members, but I think
Not even faculty members.
some hypothetical person might have hypothetical problems with hypothetical people. But that's not what this assembly would be about. It would be about educating us on what exactly is going down, because I really couldn't even, if you asked me right now what's changing next year, I couldn't tell you, because it keeps switching back and forth. I want to sit down and I want to have a definitive conversation where we're like, this is happening, this is what we have, and this is what we need to do.
Well, can I ask a question?
Yes.
This is Ms. Dolores, and this is coming from a business standpoint. Do you think that the administrators are obligated to tell you? Because I know when there's changes at my radio station, I don't get a forewarning. It just happens. So do you think that they are obligated to talk to you about the changes, or anyone for that fact? Or should they just make them?
No, I don't think they're obligated to tell us the facts of the truth. No. No.
Yeah, I don't. I'm sure there's legal issues too with how much they can tell us, but they're definitely not obligated. Does that mean that they shouldn't tell us? That's a whole other question.
Right. No,
Yeah.
that I'm not saying that. It's just that I come from an entertainment background, and in entertainment, you don't get a warning. I've never seen anything like I've seen at the first meeting that I attended. You don't get a warning about anything. You just don't hear me anymore, and nobody calls you and goes, "Are you not working here?" Everybody's pretty much trying to, cover their own selves. So being in this community is so different for me to watch how, one, people are willing to fight for one another, which I really respect. Because like I said, I've been in entertainment. It's cutthroat. I want you to be out of that seat so I can get your job. So I've enjoyed watching people stand up for each other. I've enjoyed watching the parents come out in full force to fight for this community and the people in this community. It's just been really invigorating to me. It's been edifying to watch because, like I said, I've been alone in a business where you are alone. You know what I'm saying? So I've really enjoyed it. But the other part of me says, do they have to really say anything? Because like I said, I grew up in a business where you're really virtually alone. So I think that they should give a certain amount of information, because sometimes it gets into salaries and things that are totally confidential. But yeah, that was just my thinking, because I've never seen anything like it. And I was totally amazed at the first meeting, how everybody just rallied together and really had each other's backs. It's new for me being in business. Now, I'm that girl all day long, in my personal life, but to watch people do it in business, I've just never seen anything like the Oakland School for the Arts community, teachers loving each other and really caring about what happens to one another, and then the parents coming in like Black Panther, ready to go down for the cause. So I'm loving watching the whole thing unfold.
Yeah, I think the major difference is that this is a school,
Mm-hmm.
and this is like a 900 kids education that we're talking about. And so when we are, faced with this problem where teachers are going to get fired, or what's going to happen, this is what's going to affect us for the rest of our lives. I mean, not to be harsh on OSA, but OSA has a very poor math program, and that affects us for the rest of our lives. I mean, I can't blame it all on OSA, but I definitely do not have the math scores that I wish I had, and I'm pretty sure that every single kid at OSA wishes that they had better math scores, and that's something that affects all of us, and that's something that we should be educated on. And so next year, if like Travisano were not to be here next year, and I'm in playwriting, he teaches playwriting. He's the only one of them, the only theater teacher who could teach us playwriting.
Wow.
And so if he's like fired, and he won't be fired because he's the head, but saying he was, that's something that I would need to know, because I wouldn't want to be in a playwriting emphasis with teachers who aren't playwrights, with teachers who aren't able to teach me playwriting.
If I may, and that's also just to add on that, because when I see OSA has done a lot of, it's fine for school to change over the years, it's fine. But certain things you just don't change for the stat of that what that person came into that school for is now completely gone. Whether it be that now they're merging emphases, so if you came for one emphasis, that emphasis is not going to be there anymore, or from the fact of if you came
What emphases are leaving?
No, they're merging.
Yeah.
Certain emphases are merging. Or if it's also the fact of you came to the school for this high school, but now it's about to also join with the middle school. Now it's like, I don't know. There's a lot of other factors of things that have changed that are more than just the school.
And also, as the president of Oakland School for the Arts, are you privy to conversations that maybe the other kids aren't? Do they ask you what you think?
Well, they do ask me what I think, but I do talk to Mr. Oz, and anyone can talk to Mr. Oz, and he will tell you, like, straight up what he can and cannot tell you. So I have conversations with him, and you can talk to any of the faculty, really, and, like, there are some things that they can't tell you for, like, school reasons. And I don't think they are obligated to tell us, but OSA is kind of, like, it's kind of different. Like, we are a school, and then we're also different than other schools I've witnessed, because the teachers and students have different relationships.
The bond.
They have a bond that I have not witnessed at any other school. And there is, like, this level of caring for your teacher, and you do, like you were saying, a lot of people do come here for, like, the teachers or for the programs and stuff. Yeah. So, this is not answering your question, but, I do talk to Mr. Oz sometimes, and anyone can go into his office and talk to him. Yeah.
Good to know.
Yeah.
Good to know.
And Miss Dog, too, or, like, any of the administration in the school.
So do you know where we stand right now?
I do not know exactly. I know March 20th, I think, is the date that schools have to submit what teachers are staying and what teachers are leaving.
Oh, really?
Oh, really?
And also, let me check that date, actually. It's March 20th or 18th.
I didn't even know that till right now.
Yeah.
But apparently now we all know.
Yeah. And also, just to clarify, there are, like, some of the positions that have been alluded to, like, changing. Some are financial and some are just other, just so that not everyone thinks that it's financial reasons. And this is, like, something that's come from Mr. Oz. So, yeah, he will talk to you about that if anyone's interested. Just also so that we know what we can change directly and what we can't really change from, like, rules or for financial reasons and stuff. But yeah, like, you can check the date for that. It's March something.
Okay. And do you know, are there more board meetings coming up, or?
There are more March 15th is the date.
March 15th.
Yeah. And I think there's meetings. Yeah, March 15th is next week. I think there are meetings the first Tuesday of every month. It's on the website. You can double check me on that. And I know the one that happened yesterday was a continuation of the first board meeting that happened, because there was a lot of stuff that was happening in the first one. Yeah.
Continue from those meetings. KOSA will be interviewing people who
nice.
are part of this faculty situation to get more factual information and really talk about what's going on. Which I'm just wondering because this is like a student problem, because it's school happening, but I'm just wondering, how does this happen in the adult world where all of a sudden stuff starts going haywire? Like, isn't a business.
Oh my God! You want me to answer that?
Oh, please do.
When it's fine, there have been whole companies that have been wiped out, whole departments that have been wiped out. When you're talking about finances, the person that is in charge, their job is to keep the business afloat. Whatever the company is, be it a school, be it Clorox, be it Apple, Their job is to keep that business afloat. And if they have to cut some people in order to do that, they're going to do that. They're going to do what they have to do in order to keep it afloat, because they also have people that they have to answer to, stockholders, board members, people that are putting their trust and their stock in this one person to make sure everything stays afloat. And sometimes that means you have to cut the fat. I mean, I'm sure you've heard on the news when corporations are saying, well, the post office is going to have to let go 20,000 employees. And every time I hear something like that, my heart just aches for people, because I think, oh my God, that's 20,000 people that aren't going to be able to pay their mortgage. That's 20,000 people that aren't going to be able to, pay their bills. But it happens, and it happens because of finances. Normally, everything happens because of finances. When everything was up, like before 2009, everything was up. If you notice, people were buying houses left and right, SUVs. I mean, everything was really good. And then all of a sudden, everything crashed. People started losing their homes. I talked to a man who personally worked at a Fortune 500 company, and he said, Dolores, I work at In-N-Out Burger now. So imagine going from making $500,000 to 20 or maybe 15, I don't know what they make there, but maybe $15 an hour. It happens. That is the adult world. And that's why I tell people you have to be as versatile as possible. You have to be able to do a plethora of things. So when this dries up, I'm over here now. I'm a chameleon. Dolores is very good at that. I know how to adapt and stick and move because I'm in a business, and you guys are performers. I'm in a business where you have to. Entertainment is very tricky. You have to be able to say, well, you can't use me there. I can do this too. And sometimes that means you have to go in on your own and learn these skills at your own cost, meaning they're not going to train you. But if you have the skill, you can definitely step in when it's time to move out of the last position. And that's just the game of life, Start your own business. You'll see. I tell people it's easy for me to clock in and clock out. But when you have your own business, all this is on your shoulders. I watched the director during the last meeting that we had, and I just felt bad for him. It's like all this is on his shoulders. Looking at all these people, I'm responsible for all these people. And then whether I want to or not, there's some people aren't going to be feeding off of a paycheck from here anymore. And I still have to look that person in the face. It's an awful position, but it happens. And what can you do? Raise more money? Yeah. But you have to have a strategic plan. And normally that strategic plan means trimming the fat. And trimming the fat means people got to go. So you ask the question, there's a real answer.
Or in our case, where some rando came in and gave us $100,000.
Then there's that.
Yeah.
We can really raise money. And how do you raise money? For a school like this, it would be the profile of the school. I mean, this school has some of the most talented kids I've ever seen in my life. I sit and I watch those TV shows where you see The Voice and all these young people, but I walk up and down these hallways and I am just like, wow, is Stevie Wonder in there? Is that Herbie Hancock? Or that's our kids? I'm amazed. I go into the dance department at this last Future Spaces and I'm going, oh my God, are they really doing this? So, I think a lot depends on the profile of our school, meaning how much are we really out there to corporations, to corporate America? Because you can tell me all about these kids, but until you witness it, and I work for Stevie Wonder, I've worked for Quincy Jones, until you see it, you'll just be like, oh, yeah, kids are talented, right. But once you see the magic, oh, my God, here's my checkbook. So I think raising the profile would be one of the things. And that means hiring somebody to do public relations. That's what suggestions would you have about raising money for the school? Any?
Well, walkathon.
Where are we going to walk? We in the middle of Oakland. I'm sorry.
Walk around the lake. That's a perfect place to walk. Boom. I think a walkathon would be fun. It would be nice because high schoolers don't have PE. But yeah, I mean it's difficult, especially because I don't know what exactly I'm raising the money for.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I'm raising it to give to a teacher's salary or give to I honestly have no idea where that money's going, and I have no idea where that's part of the problem. Is maybe this is just me, but do you guys know where exactly in the financial plan we're lacking money?
I know it's with. Oh, you do.
I know when we mix the pot. So basically, each emphasis have their own amount of money, And recently, you know, certain embassies had more money than others and were doing more international trips. They would go to Puerto Rico or other Latin countries, or, you know, travel to New York or New Orleans. They had a mighty fine time. Because, you know, but they raised that money.
That's what I was going to say. Keep in mind, some emphasis raise their own money.
They raised that money, and that's what it was about. But then they all put the pot together, so every emphasis shared every single money. So then the emphases that didn't have their money, they had a limited amount, but other emphases got some money. But, you know, so it all balanced out. And I see that as a problem just on the simple fact that certain emphases have certain amount of kids that do a certain amount of things, so their money needs to be independent. JK, their money needs to be independent, but because they made it dependent on this whole mosh pole pit, I mean, what can we really do? That's the question. I mean,
Switch it back.
And then also, I mean, I don't know. We have a lot of buildings.
Yeah.
Y'all, we have a lot.
It would be nice if we had one big school.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It'd be nice if we had a school building instead of an office
School.
building.
Escuela.
Yeah. I was talking about this with my parents actually, and we were thinking it would be cool if we could get like a corporate sponsorship for one of our buildings, since we have like we have Sweets Ballroom, which is like inside is a beautiful building, and if we could get like a company or something to sponsor that, and they have like their meeting, they use it for meetings or whatever, but I don't know, that's kind of far-fetched, but I think that could be cool if we had like some kind of, we use our assets to get some kind of income or like
Yeah.
I'm just saying we could really make a lot more money than we
Securitization.
do. It wouldn't be that
Yeah.
hard, but there's no, with how big OSA has gotten, I mean, for what it used to be, it has. You know,
And the waiting
With how
list. We
many-
can't even accept
Yes.
all of the kids that
Yeah.
really want to come here.
and with how many sections we have, you know, it's like each emphases have their own little pockets now, because how disfigured we've gotten, because we used to all be one, you know, we used to have a small number of certain selects, but we still used to be together. Now with how many different selects we have, we're all disfigured. And, you know, if we just came together and was like, hey, in a piece we can incorporate, you know, visual artists having a mural behind the dancers that are singing to the vocalists and the entire ensemble, but we only do it maybe like once or twice a year.
And I think this goes back to what you were saying about marketing. Like the arts festival was kind of, it was supposed to be something like that where we broadcast all the emphases, but we didn't. We need to market things like that more so that, as I was saying earlier, it's outside of just the parents and the OSA community, because they're the ones that are already putting money into the school. So if we can like get money from the actual Oakland community or like people around surrounding the school.
Exactly. Like
Yeah.
we're in Oakland. It's not that hard. And like also, you know, if we made it more, and I'm going to say real community based, and I mean like that's going to be under the lines of how people understand when I say real community based in Oakland, we'd be able to get people that, you know, were, you know, attending OSA more often, or just, I don't know, we could get a lot of more different energy and vibes within OSA if we got the real community of Oakland to be here. And we could start switching up how we audition kids, because there's no complaint of, oh, we don't know any real Oakland kids. Well, here they all are here attending our event, so obviously they want to be here. Obviously they see the passion, and that's what OSA used to be based on. I just see that from my perspective, but...
Well, let me just say this. You would be surprised how many people look at this school and look at you all as being privileged. For instance, there's a well-known author coming to town, and I saw it on Facebook, and I typed in the event, hey, his Walter Mosley, and I said, hey, Mr. Mosley, it will be great if you can come up to our school and speak to our literary department. The kids would love it. And this lady typed in under me, she said, it would be great if he can go to any of the Oakland Unified schools, because those kids are underserved. Those kids at OSA are privileged. I know, because my daughter went there. And I'm sure that your broadcasters are comforted with all of their equipment while other students have nothing. And I had to go back and correct her. Not only are my broadcasters and my broadcasting class not an emphasis, but everything that I use for my broadcasting class, I bought. And what I get for my kids, I pay for. I said, and by the way, I volunteered 3 years for free at that privileged school. When I tried to go to Castlemont, I tried to go to Tech, I tried to go to the East Oakland Youth Development Center, I tried to go to all these underserved places, and nobody would even call me back. But guess who called me back? OSA. And I was offering to volunteer. So a lot of people think that there's money here.
Yeah.
They think that this is a privileged school and you guys have so much more money than everybody else. And that what they don't take into accountability is the fact that most schools survive on their head count, meaning you guys being here. So the school will get X amount of money just because we have X amount of students, but we can only house so many. So we're never going to get the money that Oakland Tech gets. We're never going to get that money that Skyline gets because we don't have that many students. I think we have 750.
Yeah.
And that's maxing the school out. So no, we're not privileged. And she came back on and she did apologize to me after I had to break it down to her. But I had to realize that her perception is a lot of people's perception. They think that this school has the money.
And people forget OSA is still a public school.
It's thank you. We're under
the school is not a private school.
right. We're under Oakland Unified.
Uh-huh.
That part, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but we are privileged in the sense that we have the privilege to take a broadcasting class.
Mm-hmm.
So I understand that perspective, definitely. I feel super privileged to be here, and that's not a bad thing.
Right.
Like, no other school around here has, like, the level of training that we have.
And
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, I can say this, even despite the fact that the kids don't necessarily like OSA at all, there's still not one kid who's not talented. There's still not one kid who you may see absolutely cut X amount of classes, do X amount of stuff in the bathroom, all that other stuff. But if you may catch them in their emphasis or may catch them in the hallway doing their art, they're dang good at it. With the MN ending, they're dang good at it. And, I mean, that's something that you really just got to look at. I mean, some of my favorite parts in this building would have to be walking through the hallways and hearing vocalists sing or hearing instruments. I mean, it is a gift to be able to get that amount of X amount of art with my life and X amount of inspiration, because I definitely know that. I mean, yes, I have fashion is my main thing, that I'm just my natural talent, but I necessarily can say that I have picked up on the different energies within this school, and I could sketch, I can play this instrument, I can sing this song, and it definitely just happened to be exposure, which I definitely appreciate all the people within my circles here within this building. But other than that,
Yeah, I would say we're definitely privileged in the opportunities that we get presented. That might not necessarily be the money we get, but all
Right.
the opportunities we're afforded and we have access to. That's definitely a privilege that I'm really grateful for too.
how do you think, I'm just wondering, I mean, we don't have one here, what we should bring in is one of the foreign exchange students and ask how they think about this. Like, do they have, like, is it common for schools, because it's common for schools in America to close down or for schools to have certain money issues, but is it a common thing in their countries? And what do they think, and if they might easily know, like, the most easiest solution to all this just because of their country, their perspective. But, like, how do they see this? Is this, like, just a really, like, American thing, and then it goes to deeper rooted problems? I mean, I'm not going to say I'm sure it is, because I don't want to project that energy, but, hey, who knows until we do that interview.
Yeah, that could be really interesting, especially depending on the countries that they're
Yes.
coming from.
Bulgaria, Sweden, and we just lost our Italian babe, but she's good.
Oh, we have somebody here from Sweden?
Sweden and Bulgaria.
I think
See.
the Swedish school system would definitely
Yeah,
be an interesting
Swedish school is
comparison.
going to be in a very one, so stay tuned, the other faculty. But what do you think right now we can do for the other, like, as a community, like us three within our whatever circles, what can we do for our little circles that we have?
I think, well, first
Well,
of
you're
all,
president, so you have the whole circle, excuse me.
we should try and seek the most truthful information we can from like a primary source and make sure that we're not spreading false information, because that's like making people scared also.
OSA memes is not real news.
Yeah.
It does not know real information.
Yeah, let's just put that out there. Yeah, so definitely the spread of like real verifiable information that's coming directly from the source. I would also think just show your support as a community, and that might not necessarily mean walking out, but you can still voice your opinions through posters, through your art, speaking with other kids, and speak with your teachers too, and let them know how you feel, because they can talk directly to the administration and stuff.
What about you?
Yeah, I agree with August. I think for me and August right now, we do have a very limited time left at this school. So a big thing for seniors is to try and think of ways that we can help fix this, but also to support the underclassmen and make sure that they know that they're going to have to deal with this too, and that they will have to help out a lot.
All I can do is just worry about me, myself, and I. Have a great time. All the people in my circles, I love you with all my heart. I'll just, live every second of these walls as a memory, because this will become, I can see this as being a historical school. Like, it was there while it was there and it got around. Because, I mean, we have so many successful people that leave the school, whether they're known about throughout the entire world or they're doing their own thing. Like, most students leave the school extremely successful, and it's really just the energy. So, I mean, you know, we'll all be good. Well, positive energy and love is the answer. But thank you so much for President August for being here
Yeah,
today.
thank you.
No problem.
Hope to have you here after we've interviewed everyone else and continue on from here and have you as our last clap back. Ben, for coming in.
Hi. Sorry I was late.
Está bien. And thank you for allowing me to be your host on another edition of Make That Change on www.kosaradio.org, where minds, words, music, and rhymes meet.
Whoa.